Ah, jeez. Oh. Well. I think... I'll fire this up. Sorry, I just realized that I got a really cute picture of my nephew, so I have to take a moment and like it and respond to it. He's adorable. I think hold up. There it is. Took a second for it to connect. I think I'm gonna just dive on in. Oh, hey Silmy, thanks for the follow. Yes, it is myself. Me, myself, and I, and I'm actually playing some Pokemon. Let me know how the volume is. I've never streamed this game before. So how's it going, Silmy? This is Professor Sycamore, and he's giving us the obligatory tutorial because, hypothetically, there are still people who don't realize that the creatures running around in Pokemon games are called Pokemon. Now we're on an important question here. Because here's the thing. I suppose I should say a bit about what my plan is here. See, I like to do something called a Nuzlocke, which is a special challenge where there are 3 core rules that you self-impose while playing Pokemon. The first rule is permadeath. If a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead, and we have to put it in the graveyard, which is going to be a special box in the PC. And the second rule is that we have limited encounters. Specifically, in each area, we can only catch the first eligible encounter. And the third rule is that we have to nickname all of our Pokemon, so that, you know, we get heartbroken if the Pokemon dies. Yeah. And on top of that, for this run, I'm planning on using only poison types. This is one that I had the idea for a while ago, and I think could be really fun. So with that, we're going to have a very toxic team, and I need to decide which person is going to do... which person is going to be the face of our toxicity. So let's see. We have a few different appearances for the guy, and a few for the girl. I'm not really sure which one I want to be my toxic character. But here's the thing. Just in my general opinion, so the characters here are Callum and Serena. Those are their canon names. Obviously, we'll name our own character. In my opinion, Serena is more iconic for these games. So I'm gonna go with Serena here. And we need to give her a name. It's the most poison, what's the most toxic name we can come up with? I think Smam. We're going to go with that. We're going to pronounce that Ashley. And there's a reason for it. But y'all will see that when we get a little bit further into the game. Actually, no, I don't like that. Oh, you know what? Okay, I realize that I'm being incredibly indecisive, but we do have to deal with this name for the rest of the playthrough, so... we're gonna go with Chlora, short for chloroform. Yes, I realize chloroform is spelt with an O, not an A. But you know what? We're going to accept that and we're going to move on. To be honest, I'm not entirely certain that chloroform has an H at the start. So, yep. We've got a bird coming to peck our eyes out. Oh. So here's the thing. Right now we're just in our pajamas. Hey Sam, how's it going? We're basically playing the embodiment of you. We're playing an intensely toxic person. Yeah, we have to check the mirror before we can actually get dressed. And honestly, at the first available opportunity, I am going to take off those sunglasses because I don't think they work with the look. And this is our mom. And we're being forced out to play. Are you saying that your mom isn't normally that thick, Sam? So, this is Shauna and Callum. And they're coming to tell me that apparently the local science dude from 2 cities over wants 5 kids to do something for him. So, luckily, we can run right from the start. So this is going to be a Nuzlocke. But because I'm planning on only using poison types for this, we're not going to, like, the starter that we choose really doesn't matter, because here's the thing. None of the poison types and none of the starters in this game are poison type, and none of them become poison type. So, I am going to pick my own name. We're gonna be chloroform. So, actually, Sam, pretty simple answer to that question. There is one particular Pokemon that I've run across in this game, but that I've never gotten the chance to use in any of my playthroughs. And also, they're just a really nice, they're a really nice spread of poison type Pokemon, as well as challenges for poison types to get through. So I think this will be an interesting challenge. Now, we are going to go with the grass-type Fennekin, because that will mean that our two main rivals, Callum and Shauna, will have Fennekin and Froakie, respectively, which is a bit harder, a bit more of a challenge than facing off against a grass type with a poison type. Yeah, particularly that Fennekin is eventually going to be a Delphox, which is part Psychic type. That thing is going to be absolutely terrifying for us. I'm already regretting the decision to give my rival the more dangerous option. And of course, I'm going to give it a name. And no. We're not going to use Chespin very long. So, our buddies here give us our Pokemon and our Pokédex. If anything I say doesn't make sense, by the way, feel free to ask in chat. Oh, and we got a letter from the professor. So, we do have to go through a little bit of early game stuff before we can actually get our starter. Give me one sec. Sorry about that. Graphics were just having a few issues, so I turned them down a little bit. Okay, so since we're up against a water type with our grass type, plants drink water, so therefore whipping it with a vine will naturally be very useful. And we are going to do one more vine whip, and that should get the job done. This was never going to be an especially difficult fight. Honestly, Chespin is my second favorite starter from this generation. Oh, hold up a sec. Let's actually... there are my options. We're going to turn on fast text speed, and one of the things I'm doing for this is we're going to be playing on set mode, which means that when we on switch mode when you play, when you beat your opponent's Pokemon, it'll tell you what they're about to send out and give you the chance to switch. But we're not going to do that. We're going to play on set mode, meaning we have that little bit of extra challenge there. Because we have to play around with switching and stuff. We need to be tactful with that. Oh, and this is a Rhyhorn. We can hop on its back. That's about it for Rhyhorn. It doesn't really do anything else. But the lore says that our mom is a professional Rhyhorn racer. Yep, I've got my own Pokemon. And she thinks that the letter from the guy is a love letter and has the hots for his handwriting. So, yeah. Hey Tan, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Okay, that's actually very helpful. Okay, that town map is actually going to be very helpful. So much so that we're going to go ahead and register it right off the bat. What that means is that by pressing just a single key, I'll be able to pull it up. Press that real quick and I can go ahead and swap screens. So the town that we were just in is Aquacord. We'll be heading north of that to Santaloon Forest, which is where we're going to get our actual first encounter. We are going to stop into a couple of these places first and maybe talk to some people. Gonna go ahead and buy a few potions, not too many, but they're good to have around. Ah, jeez. I keep hitting the... If you're going with a Switch, then the natural choice these days would either be to get Sword and Shield, which have been out for a little minute, or Legends Arceus, which has only been out for a few months. I've heard a lot of good things about Legends Arceus. Sadly, I haven't actually played it yet, which is on me. There is also a new set of Pokemon games coming out in November, which are very anticipated. it'll be the start of a new generation of Pokemon. And that'll be most of what people are playing for the next little while. So depending on how eager you are to start right away, it might honestly be worth it to stall for a minute and pick up Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, because that's what everyone's going to be playing around the end of the year. So, we are about to get the capture tutorial. And I believe this first encounter is actually... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this Pidgey encounter is literally scripted. Because every time I've played this game, I've gone 2 steps into the grass and encountered a Pidgey. We are not going to worry about this. I believe they give you that encounter to make it easier to oh, that is a good shout, Sam. Pokemon Let's Go, the Let's Go games, are pretty good for... We're gonna fast forward through this cutscene. They're pretty good for a first time. Admittedly, they are pretty different mechanically from the main series games. But still very fun and very worth playing. But yeah, as I was saying, that first Pidgey encounter I think is hard-coded in as a way to skip the capture tutorial. I think if you catch it, you get to skip the tutorial. But we're just gonna skip a few of these because they're not poison types. And all we want are poison types. Now, we do have to beat this guy. But I don't think it should be too difficult. Funnily enough, there would actually be... Butterfree is bug and flying. However, you're on the right track there when thinking about what we're going to use. I'll show y'all in a second. Interestingly, I'm playing Pokemon Y. Pokemon X actually has a poison type encounter out here before we go into the forest. But there's a specific reason that I didn't want the poison type encounter, that I didn't want to be playing Pokemon X, and I'll explain that a little further along. Basically, there's a certain Pokemon that we can only get in Pokemon Y that I really want to play with. So, I'm gonna come and grab this. And now, if we head over this way, I've got my controls all backwards. I'm not used to this emulator yet. I'm gonna drop a quick save here. And then we're going to wander into the grass and look around for our first encounter. This is a Pikachu. It's not what we actually want, so we're just gonna run. We're gonna try and run. Part of running away from Pokemon is your speed. If you've got a lower speed stat than the Pokemon you're running from, it's harder to get away. Yes, Sam, Pikachu is cute, but it's not a poison type. No matter how toxic the Gen 1 community is, Pikachu is not a poison type. Also, Scatterbug is not a poison type. Scatterbug is basically this generation's version of Caterpie. There's only one Pokemon that we want. Sadly, it's also not Caterpie. To be clear, I have nothing against Gen 1 itself. I'm just not as crazy for it. Like, a lot of my early memories of Pokemon are from Gen 1. Yeah, Scatterbug is cool. I like its evolved form especially. Spupa, it's fun. We're gonna keep trying for this. Now the trouble is, the poison type in this area is only a 10% encounter. Pikachu, could you leave us alone, please? Thank you. You're not nearly toxic enough for what we need. It occurs to me that I'm playing with the speed up option. I don't need to wait through these long cutscenes. I've got it, when I toggle on the speed up, I've got it sped up to 400%. Oh my gosh, how many Pikachu? I am going to go ahead and mute the game real quick. For the stream, just so y'all don't have to listen to 400% sped up music. Nope, we keep getting the wrong encounters. I promise this will pick up as soon as we get the one Pokemon that we're looking for. Okay, you have a point there, Sam. But I'm gonna stick with my current plan, especially because, funnily enough, I genuinely don't think that Pikachu can beat the first gym solo. I've tried, but the first gym is actually pretty hard. Even with the Pokemon that we're trying to get here, it's probably going to take a good bit of luck. Okay, so we found all of the other Pokemon that are in this area before the one that we want. It is about... Hang on, I'm not sure what time it is. It is about 7:20 for me. Yeah. So I haven't actually said who we're looking for, because I want it to be a bit of a reveal, but I guess I could just tell you. There's only one Poison-type Pokemon in this forest, and that Pokemon is... Oh, you're saying you're giving a big O, so I'm guessing you want the surprise. Okay, I'll hold off. Yeah, Tan, I am sorry about that 7-hour time difference. Aha! And here we have it. What is hopefully going to be our starter. And to avoid accidentally knocking it out, we are just going to throw a Pokeball. And because I got a Premier Ball from buying all those balls in the shop, we are going to try with just that. Now, I do think that the first time you throw a Pokeball in Gen 6 is actually a guaranteed capture, so this should be pretty. So I think that was guaranteed. Exactly, Sam. This will eventually give us a Beedrill. And in fact, this will give us a Beedrill pretty soon. Now, there's just one thing. We need to come up with the name. Yeah, I get that, Sam. I get that, Tan. We need to come up with a name for our Weedle. For our starter and our poison-only challenge. Hang on a sec. I am going to take a moment and Google poisonous caterpillars. Okay, so actually, there is a poisonous caterpillar with this scientific name. It's called the hag caterpillar. So what do you think about naming, what do y'all think about naming it Phobatron, and we'll call it Phoebe? We'll spell it a little bit differently. Named after the hag caterpillar. Now, you may have noticed, I'm on the wrong window. You may have noticed, if my game will respond, first of all, Phoebe is plus attack nature. So you may have noticed that Phoebe is only level 2. Aha. I can toggle through a few different views of the screen like this. Might not give the best view all the time, might be a little bit covered up. But yeah, you may have noticed that Phoebe is only level 2, and that could be a big issue. Now, it is definitely possible that if we just run around and encounter Caterpies and spam Poison Sting, we can manage to get away with this. But in the interest of making this stay fun and interesting, I am going to allow us to use boring just a little bit more, just against some wild Pokemon, in order to get Phoebe some levels. So like here, we came in against this Fletchling, but we're gonna go ahead and switch out to boring to fight it. We're just doing this to pick up a few quick levels on Phoebe to save some time further along. Funnily, in Pokemon X, if we had gone ahead and gotten a Phoebe outside this forest, we would have been able to find one that was level 4. But there are no Weedle outside the forest in Pokemon X. Oh, hang on, I just realized sound is on for y'all. Now, this is a scatterbug. We can actually take this thing, especially because I forgot to point this out earlier. Hang on, let's look at Phoebe again real quick. So if you notice right here, these are Phoebe's stats down in the bottom corner. Hold up. Here we see Phoebe's stats right there in the middle. Now, Pokemon have something called a nature, and it will give depending on their nature, they'll have a 10% boost to one stat and a 10% decrease to another. And if I remember right from what I saw in Phoebe's summary, her 10% boost is to attack, and her 10% increase is to defense. Which is actually really good for a physical attacker like Phoebe. See? We are going to go ahead and heal real quick, but yeah, Phoebe was able to take that scatterbug really easily. The 2-level advantage doesn't hurt. Oh, and we got a poison with Poison Sting. That's helpful. Now, the nice thing about training in this area is that we have Shauna right behind us, and Shauna is willing to heal us whenever. So that saves us a bit of a trip back to the Pokemon Center. Oh, and look, we've got another Caterpie. Again, really easy to deal with. Admittedly, it would probably still be faster. Yes, Tan, the game is sped up. That's simply because grinding in Pokemon is generally pretty boring, and I'm trying to make sure that y'all don't wind up bored. If I actually unmute the game, you can hear how fast the music is going. And there we go. We've got Phoebe to level 5. And now we're going to go and see if... I can't recall actually, but if there's a PC in the town back here, we're probably just going to go ahead and drop boring in there now. I'm not sure if there is. We can talk to these people and heal up real quick. It's honestly kind of funny to see the people in town running around at these comical speeds. Oh, I bet this guy gives me a free item. Yeah. That dude just gave me a free potion, so potions are used for easy healing out of battle. Now, because I am doing this as a bit of a hard mode, Pidgey only knows tackle at this level, but that does get the same type attack boost. I'm gonna drop a string shot. Oh yeah, that's a lot of damage. We're gonna run. Now here's the thing. While I can't get rid of boring, we won't be using boring anymore during this run. Phoebe is our starter Pokemon. But that said, Phoebe isn't going to stay as a Phoebe for long. We need to be a little bit careful about how many Pokemon we battle, because I am playing with a level cap. Meaning that I'm not allowed to pass out the level of the gym leader's best Pokemon before we fight them. Oh, it just occurred to me, this thing resists everything that we can do. Yeah, we're not going to fight another Phoebe. We don't need to fight an inferior Phoebe, we already know that we have the best one. In this case, I believe the gym leader's best Pokemon is level... Ooh. So you notice how that last attack did extra damage? That was called a critical hit. And I am going to slow this down a little bit, just so I don't make a dumb mistake. Now we are pretty safe, because I hit them with a string shot at the start of the battle, so they're slower than they would be otherwise. Meaning we can run away if things get scary. But a critical hit is something that has a random chance to happen where a Pokemon does extra damage with their attack. And that's something we have to be careful with, because again, if my Pokemon faints, it's dead. And if all of the Pokemon that we have at one time on the team die, we have to start over. So, like, while Phoebe is obviously an absolute titan amongst Pokemon, there are obvious challenges in being a little worm thing. Okay, now this is a better matchup. See, Poison-type move moves are super effective against grass-type Pokemon, meaning they deal twice as much damage. Notice how much easier the green monkey was than the blue one. We want to level up Phoebe really quick here, because there are a couple of battles in these woods that we need to be a bit stronger for. I do want to check something real quick. Okay. So like this fletchling could actually be pretty dangerous, so we're gonna start off with a string shot, because see how much damage it did? Just a tackle. Oh yeah, we're gonna run here. Yeah, see, part of the challenge with Nuzlocke is that you do have to be kind of careful. And especially monotype Nuzlocke are... Wow, we're encountering a lot of Phoebes. Monotype Nuzlocke are a really interesting challenge in the sense that you have some natural weaknesses that you just have to learn to play around. Like right now, I can already tell you one of our scariest fights later in the game is probably going to be the 7th gym. I think that we might be dead to a critical hit here, so oh yeah, we're gonna run. Yeah, so you notice there, we were getting to low hit points. And if Phoebe dies, we have to reload back where we saved. But yeah. Later in the run, the 7th gym is a psychic type gym. Poison types are weak to psychic types. And there are only a couple of Pokemon that we can catch that will really help with that weakness. So actually, if we don't get good enough luck with the Pokemon that we run into in certain areas, we could get really far into this and just lose. I need to remember to heal Phoebe after this fight. I do like the speed up. Go ahead and slow that thing down. So it's doing about 3 damage a hit, which means a critical hit, which does 50% more, will do about 5. It would really help if we got the poison here, thank you. So even though we're at low health, we were safe even to a crit at that point. We're gonna go ahead and run. There's not really much point in us going out of our way to face opponents that we're not that suited for right now. And that includes, well, most opponents. Yes, the level cap is one of the things that really makes this tricky, because we can't just get our stats so high that our opponent's advantage doesn't matter. So, we are going to want to enjoy this because notice Phoebe just hit level 7. Something fun happens at level 7. See, when Pokemon hit certain levels, or sometimes in other circumstances, they can evolve. They change their appearance, and their base stats change, and sometimes other stuff. Even type sometimes. But yeah, now we have a Kakuna. Phoebe evolved into Kakuna, and she learned Harden, which will make things a bit easier. Give me one sec. Sorry, I'm just thinking it might be good if we go ahead and tone down the speed up a little bit. Okay, well, I can't remember how to do that, so we're gonna go ahead and not do that. So one thing about Kakuna, for example, is that it has much better defenses than Weedle. Which means... Now, we did lose some speed. We'll get that back when we evolve again. Yeah, we have much better defenses than Weedle, meaning we can afford to fight this Fletchling a little bit more safely. We also have the option to use Harden to raise our defense a little bit more. And thanks to the poison we just got on Fletchling, this shouldn't take too much longer. Yeah, see, even though Fletchling is using Growl a lot, which lowers the damage from Poison Sting, we're still doing damage with poison. Which helps us get through things a bit faster. We're still not gonna bother fighting other Phoebes. we know that we are the Supreme Phoebe, so there's not really any point. And one thing about poison types is that they can't be poisoned. You know, how do you poison poison? Which is kinda nice, but it also means that sometimes when we come up against other poison types, it might take a while. Now, I do have a bit of a plan for the early game of this run, because, honestly, the first gym leader in this game is genuinely really hard if you can't over-level her. She uses Bug-type Pokemon, which means she... Oh, I was not paying enough attention, and we could have had a dead Phoebe there. I'm just gonna run. I don't know if this thing has a fire type. She uses bug types, which means she has a fully evolved Pokemon already. It's the fully evolved form of Scatterbug, Spupa. It's the fully evolved form of that little gray worm we've been killing for a while now. So, the thing is, that thing is actually pretty strong for this stage of the game. Now, by the time we face it, we will have a fully evolved Beedrill, which is part of why this challenge is actually even possible. But it's still a little bit tricky, and I do think we might still need a little bit of luck in order to win the match. Oh, this Pikachu should actually give some really good experience. There we go. Which makes the earliest part of this run pretty dangerous. I'm gonna turn off the sound because I'm starting to get a little bit dizzy by quad speed music. So yeah, we have to play things smart going into this gym, or we could have to start the run all over really soon. Which is why I'm picking up a few levels already while we're here in this forest. Having a fully evolved Beedrill makes it hypothetically possible, but it's going to be tricky. I do like having the speed up option, though. That is one of the challenges of doing some of these things on your own, is Pokemon games aren't necessarily the fastest. You have to deal with loading screens and battle animations and all sorts of things like that take up time without getting you any real progress. Being able to just kind of jitter click the A button through some of these easier battles legitimately saves a lot of time for us. Wow. Has it actually already been over an hour of streaming? It doesn't feel like that long for me, but it probably feels even longer to you. Okay. Now, from what I remember, once we get out of these woods, there are only 2 required battles before the gym leader. And there's not really anything that we have to collect. There aren't many useful items at this stage of the game. I should clarify, there's a reason that I know so many things about this game. I actually just finished a run in Pokemon Y. It was a special Nuzlocke where I was only using Pokemon 2 feet tall or shorter, which, honestly, easily my favorite Nuzlocke that I've ever done. It was really interesting, and the challenges that I encountered were really unique, and then the strategy that I came up with at the end, which actually let me beat the final challenge in Pokemon, which is the Elite Four and Champion. Yeah, cute little guys. The strategy that I came up with to get through that last part, which I honestly wasn't certain if I was even going to be able to win, was so much fun to figure out. So like you notice, because we've gained so much HP as we've leveled up and we hit harder, we're able to take a lot of these Pokemon out pretty easily. And I should have healed before this fight. Yes, Lastborn Child, that Nuzlocke was painful. Y'all would be surprised what the height of some Pokemon are. For example, a lot of Pokemon, I've realized, aren't measured from top to bottom for their height. If a Pokemon is really long, its height, as listed in its Pokédex, will be its length. A lot of Pokemon that are birds, it seems to list their wingspan. I'll point out my favorite example of this if we get past the first gym. Because there's one Pokemon that is honestly absurdly tall for what it is. But yeah, a lot of, like, if you have a Pokemon that's a snake, its height is pretty obviously measured as its length. Or the same thing with a lot of fish. Which makes it tricky. Eventually, I found a really interesting strategy that made it possible to beat the Elite Four and the Champion, and I actually managed to do that last leg of the run without losing any Pokemon, which was really surprising. Because the thing about smaller Pokemon, they tend to be a little bit more frail, and they tend to have they often tend not to hit as hard as some Pokemon, even. Oh, come on, we just stop it with the critical hits, please. One interesting thing about critical hits, like, I just used Harden, which raised my defense. If that Fletchling gets a critical hit, that will ignore the bonus to my defense. Guys, this is what we've been working towards. Phoebetron just hit level 10. Now, I want it noted, Phoebetron's attack right now is 14, her speed is 13. Now we're going to check what those are after it evolves. Sam, yes, I did use Pikachu, very briefly. Low voltage the Pikachu is the sole reason that no one else had to die in the first gym. Because low voltage does have a good matchup into the first gym, it just can't solo it without a little bit of luck. So Phoebetron just learned Fury Attack. Yeah, low voltage was very important to the run. We actually caught it right here in this forest. It was our first encounter. And thanks to low voltage, the run survived. So big props to low voltage. I am going to cycle through some arrangements real quick. We want this arrangement for the next bit. So look at that. Phoebe's attack before was literally 14. Now it's 28. It's a lonely nature, by the way. Phoebe knows that she must always walk alone down this path of toxicity. Sorry, just switching up the move order. So yeah, Phoebe's attack stat literally doubled. Now with that said, we are still not as crazy as we could be. Exactly, Sam. We are still not as crazy as we could be because notice the power on Poison Sting. It's only 15. And Fury Attack, the move Phoebe learned when she evolved, is the same power. Now, Fury Attack randomly hits between 2 and 5 times in a row, but it's only 85% accurate, which means when I use it, there's a 15% chance that I won't hit at all. Despite that, it is still stronger than Poison Sting, even when Poison Sting gets what's called the same type attack bonus. What this means is, since Phoebe is a poison type, when she uses Poison Sting, when she uses a poison type attack, it's 50% stronger. But even that is only effectively a 22 base power, which is less than the power of Fury Attack if it hits even just the lowest number of times, which is twice. Now what we need to gamble on when we go into the first gym is that Fury Attack hits, and hits a decent number of times. Because if that happens, then we can get through the first gym fairly easily. If that doesn't happen, then there's a good chance that we're going to be back here next time I stream this, trying again. And I really like Phoebe, so we're gonna hope that things work out. And we're going to do our best to make them work out. See, I do have a little bit more of a plan than just hope. If you notice this screen down here at the bottom, it actually has some other options. So this is the Pokemon search system. It's used for trading and stuff. This is Pokemon-Ami, which lets you boost your Pokemon's friendship, but also has the chance to give it ridiculously overpowered buffs that we're not going to use. But the bit we want is what is called super training. See, behind the scenes of Pokemon, there are two sets of kind of hidden stats. They're called individual values and effort values. Individual values determine how strong a Pokemon is compared to other Pokemon that are the same thing, just at its base. So like, 2 Beedrill may be at the same level and have the same nature, but one could have a higher attack stat than another. And that means that it has a higher individual value, or IV. Meanwhile, there's something called effort values, which are points that you accumulate as you beat other Pokemon. And if you get enough effort values, it will raise your Pokemon's stats as well. One way to get effort values without actually battling is by doing some super training. Basically, what we have to do in this minigame is try to hit a bunch of goals with soccer balls in order to pick up more effort values. And I promise it will get more interesting. So obviously that was pretty easy. That was just the tutorial. But as we do this, we're going to pick up effort values. And what we want to do is go ahead and maximize the effort values in our attack stat. We do have to go through the tutorial. So, we're gonna come here and click on this bag for a moment. Okay. Now, all that we're going to do for the moment I don't want to battle Spupa. We need to go through some super training stuff to get as many attack EVs or effort values as possible in order I've found in the past that it's a bit easier to hit them if you're up high. We need to make Phoebe hit as hard as possible if we want to win this gym badge. That's the long and short of what I'm saying here. Now, unfortunately, the tutorial does make us work against the defense training, but now we get the chance to train an attack. And this is what we're going to be doing for a few minutes here. And unfortunately, I I don't know how much I can speed this up. So notice it's trying to hit us with soccer balls, we're trying to hit it with soccer balls. It's a whole thing. But we've almost cleared it. See, I actually really like the super training minigame. I think it's a fun way to approach this. So, we got 4 attack EVs from that training. We also got this attack punching bag, which lets us go back out later and punch it a little bit to get 1 more. But we're just going to keep going with this for a minute, since it's a bit faster to take out this than it is to always duck out for punching bags. And if you remember from last time we did this, before we were only doing 15 damage a hit. So the nice thing about super training is that because you are raising your stat that you're using to do the training, it goes faster the more you do it. Honestly, I would prefer not to be doing super training at this stage of the game because, quite frankly, because my attack stat is so low at this point, I'm not doing much damage and it takes longer. At a higher level, we could actually be knocking these out in about 30 seconds. I've gotten plenty of good levels down to about 15 before. But all we have to do really at the moment is punch our way through this Axew a few times. And we can get the stats that we need. The downside is effort values have more impact as you level up, which means at this low level, this will only make a few points difference, but it could still easily be the difference between whether or not we win. It could still easily be the difference in whether we win the first gym battle. And if you're wondering what those black things, what those black soccer balls do if they hit us, they knock our points back so that it takes longer for us to finish. So by avoiding those, we manage to get this done a bit faster. Now, a lot of this isn't really stuff that you would have to think about in a normal playthrough. In fact, I played through Pokemon Y, I think 1.5 times before I actually learned what super training was. It was during... I called the Nuzlocke where I used only short Pokemon, my Height Lock. It was during my Height Lock that I learned about super training, and it was very important because, honestly, there was at least one battle close to the end of the game that, had I not learned about super training, I probably wouldn't have won. It was just one that I was very ill-suited for. The big boss of the criminal organization in this game, his name's Lysander. And among other things, he has a couple of Pokemon that are hard-hitting physical attackers with attack types that I had a lot of trouble dealing with on the team I had at that time. And had I not been able to use super training to retrain my Pokemon stats, I would have been in a really rough situation because honestly I needed the perfect stats to get through the final Lysander fight. To those of you who don't know, which might well be everyone in chat, this and Pokemon X were the games that Mega Evolutions were introduced in, which they've since taken out. Honestly, I think that was a good call. But Mega Evolutions are pretty scary when we have to fight them in this game. And that includes Lysander's Mega Gyarados. Okay, so real quick, we're going to duck out of there, because you notice how we've been getting punching bags after each fight. Well, now if we come out here, I can just kind of jitter click the punching bag, and after a little bit, it will give us some extra EVs. So like that was 12 EVs right there. So while the super training itself is useful, the chance to get the punching bags for a little bit faster training and without having to do the minigame is pretty nice. And this part I can speed up for really easily, because that decreases how much cooldown is needed for the punching bags. Okay, and we'll leave Phoebe punching away at that one while we go back into super training. And we packed on a good number of effort values there. So now, this should actually go a little bit faster. See that? We're doing 22 a hit now. Even if the XU just did 26 to us. Look at how fast that was. We even got hit once, and I think that was the best time. Yep, that was a new best time. About 29 seconds. So yeah, part of what I take into account when choosing a Nuzlocke is, obviously, I want it to be somewhat achievable, so I do like to plan a little bit to see like what type of Pokemon I'll be able to use, just to get an idea of what my options are in the game. So like with this one, I've looked through, I've seen that there are a pretty decent variety of poison types, which improves our chances of being able to overcome different challenges. I've also looked into what Pokemon will have access into the early game, and our next encounter is immediately after the first gym. The area that we get access to after the first gym is... Oh, I forgot! Beedrill is one of these guys that gets like the jitter click, or that gets like the rapid fire options. See, this is me forgetting basic mechanics in a game that I've put literally hundreds of hours into. Look at that time. That was 19 seconds. But yeah, as I was saying, our next encounter is immediately after the first gym, where we'll get to go to one route beyond where we currently can, and find a Badoo, which is a little grass and poison type. Look at that. That will be helpful into the rock type gym. Look at that, 11 seconds. This is part of the satisfaction of doing this, of doing the super training, honestly, is seeing how fast I can get. Things. As for keeping track of everything, I've done a lot of Nuzlocks. It's kind of just become a habit. And I was just looking this stuff up earlier today while I was slacking off at work. Don't tell my boss. So I think we've gotten a decent number of punching bags, so we're gonna duck out again real quick. Oh, wait, and then immediately go back in, apparently. But yeah, I've done many Nuzlocks. And so I've got habits formed when doing it. The nice thing is, while I realize that Pokemon as a game has gotten a fair bit of flack for this, the series is pretty predictable. There are some things that never change, which means a lot of what I know about it can be applied to just about any Pokemon game. Have a good sleep, Tan. Thanks for joining and chatting and stuff. I hope you enjoyed seeing Phoebe, and if you want to catch up, I will be uploading the VOD. Like, the VOD will be saved on Twitch, and I will be uploading it to my YouTube channel, which is linked from my Twitch channel as well. Yeah. Honestly, one of the biggest challenges in Nuzlocke is figuring out what doesn't apply in a certain generation. Because while a lot of it is very consistent, certain things do change between generations. Oh, Rafkin, I'm not done yet. Tam was just signing off, so I was saying see you later there. I think I still got a little more time. I need to leave myself enough time to go to the gym later, but that's not too much trouble. Yeah. It can be a little bit tricky to keep track of some of the changes. For example, in earlier generations than this, critical hits actually did double damage instead of 1.5 times damage. Knowing that is important for getting an idea of how much damage a critical hit will do in order to play around it safely. Which means in this generation, critical hits are a little bit less scary than they were in earlier generations. Like, Generation 3 was the generation that I largely grew up playing. Back then, critical hits did double damage, which makes them really frightening for a Nuzlocke. Admittedly, I don't think I've ever won a Nuzlocke in Gen 3. Whereas I have won Nuzlockes in all the later generations except Generation 7, which I've never played. Oh, that was a good round. See, I could actually unlock slightly faster super training, but I would have to beat a level in each of the super training options, and I honestly don't know if Phoebe, with her current stats, can handle some of the others. Look at that, though. Down there at the bottom, our best time on this so far is less than 9 seconds. So like I said, this gets faster. And you notice up here, we've got this little table. This yellow spike will reach all the way to the corner when we've maxed out Phoebe's attack EVs. Now the nice thing is, in a lot of battles, we won't have to worry about this. We can just go in, battle intelligently, and we'll be fine. It's only the really tough battles that require insane levels of preparation. For this early in the game, super training is definitely an insane level of preparation. I've never super trained this early before, but I genuinely want to make it through this gym in one try. Now y'all might be wondering why I'm just talking about the one stat and not about being able to take out all of, to max out all of them. Well, among other things, there's a limit to how many effort values a Pokemon can actually have. It's only enough to max out 2 stats and then put a little bit into one other. You can also spread them around more, but the total number is the same. So while I wouldn't mind putting more into, say, speed or HP, it's not really the priority here, because honestly the most important thing for this upcoming gym is just being able to do enough damage to deal with the gym leader's Vivian before it absolutely massacres us. Let's duck out real quick and do some more with the punching bags. Strength is power. Stuff you learn from Pokemon. Now obviously this is intensely hard work, so I do need to go until my muscles ache. It's like I have to click one button. I can actually do most of this without looking. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that I've talked about, you don't strictly need to know a lot. You don't strictly need to know a lot of these things in order to do a Nuzlocke. You can actually be very successful doing a Nuzlocke without worrying about a lot of things. And that just has to do with the fact that so yeah, that was me accidentally doing a round on speed up, which for the in-game timer actually meant that it took longer. Yeah. As a general rule, the more rules you add to a Nuzlocke and the more restrictions you have, the harder it is to do one. That's especially true with a level cap like I'm playing with. So right now, I can't let my Pokemon get above level 12, which makes it a lot less safe to face the gym leader. If I could get up to, say, level 14 with my Pokemon before going in, a lot of early game Pokemon could clear the gym at that point without too much trouble. But because I'm not allowed to overlevel the gym leader's best Pokemon, I need to have a little bit more strategy. And that tends to be one of the first rules people add to Nuzlockes beyond the basic ones, is stuff like not using items in battle, playing on set mode, and having a level cap. But again, the basic rules of a Nuzlocke are permadeath and the limited encounters, where you can only get one Pokemon in the area. Now, I think I might actually be at all the... close to all the EVs I can get at this point. So I am going to duck out and use the punching bags a little bit more. Just because they edge me a bit closer. Oh, that wasn't the button that I meant to click. Okay, so don't worry, we are getting close to finishing off this lengthy grind. And I promise the run will get more interesting once we pass the first gym. There will be more variety and less sitting around grinding. And in future I will probably do some of these grindy bits off stream in my own time. Just because, quite frankly, I'd rather have y'all around for the story bits. And I will make sure to do story-focused stuff on stream, so that y'all don't have to feel like you missed some stuff. But there are some really grindy portions of this game, especially like the berry farming option, which is useful for getting a lot of really potent items. I'm not going to stream that. I'll explain it at some point, but I will not stream berry farming. There are a few reasons for why I won't stream berry farming, but one of them is definitely the fact that you have to let it sit for like a day before you can harvest the berries. And I don't actually know if messing with my in-game clock even fixes that. I think it starts up a separate timer to handle that. Come on, Phoebetron. Okay, we're getting close. Oh, that was a good round. But yeah, I'm a fan of Pokemon games. There's a good bit of depth to the strategy that I just find satisfying. Oh, that was 7 seconds, guys. Oh, we're so good. By the way, yes, I use the word we when I'm playing this, so y'all can take credit for anything that happens on this stream. Like, shared credit, obviously. You can't take it away from me. But if we manage to do well in something, or get lucky in some way, that's all of us getting lucky, or all of us doing well. You balloon, you're going down. I don't know if I actually said this out loud before, but I find it a little bit easier to aim if I go up a little bit at the start of the round, at the start of the game, just because there's a good bit of drop on the balls. By being a bit higher up, I can get a bit better angle on it so that I don't have to compensate as much. The downside being if I get too high up, I'm pretty sure that slows down how fast I can move side to side, and that can be an issue with dodging. Like, if I get all the way up here, look at how slow I'm going side to side. Yes, Sam. Ha ha. Oh, sweet. Okay, we've maxed out attack. I want to check something real quick. Sorry, I just want to make sure that we will be outspeeding the Vivian that we're up against. So I just double checked, and the highest speed stat that a level 12 Vivian can have is 33. So we do want to make sure that before we reach the third gym, we have at least 33 speed. So we may come back here, well, we may duck back into super training briefly before going into the gym. Yeah, because we've only got 21 speed right now. We might not actually even be able to get the edge on speed if it's got max speed, which again, it might not. And from this point forth, we're going to run from basically all wild Pokemon, just because we don't want to risk accidentally going beyond the level cap. And every battle we win, we get experience. So like those two are going to battle. Shauna is actually going to tell us that she finds a random thing in there. And we got an item. So I'll take it. This guy is dangerous. Well, he's not actually that dangerous, but he is an optional battle, so we're going to skip him for now. So yeah, just by swinging around the outer edge there, we can dodge at least one trainer. That said, oh, and Callum gave us more Pokeballs. This lady, this is going to be a somewhat scary fight, because she has like a level 5 Pikachu, I think. Quick question for those who are in chat. I'll slow this down so that you don't have to listen to quad speed music. Quick question to those who are in chat. What do y'all prefer for most of the gameplay for the visual? Do you like it on this top-down version, despite all of the blank space around the sides? Or would you rather this version, where we've kind of minimized the buttons down here? Now, I am going to go for Poison Sting, just because Pikachu has the ability Static. I don't really want to hit it multiple times with Fury Attack, because I don't want to be paralyzed. No one wants to deal with that. Except it did just occur to me that we're walking around with Shauna. Which do you mean by the second? The top and bottom version, or the big and small? Yes, we killed the electric mouse. We are going to go at more normal speeds for now. She's got an item past her, but it's not that important. Big and small. Yeah. I think I've got to agree with you, Sam. I had to change it for super training, because figuring out that thing doesn't work as well without the top-down arrangement, but while we're just wandering around, I'll try and make sure to keep it like this. Okay. And now watch this. Watch Callum during this scene. So, he says, "So, you got here first? Seems like I'm neighbors with someone who has a lot of potential." And they all gather up here. I'm gonna skim through the talk because, quite frankly, there are way too many of these semi-important characters in this game. It's one of the downsides to an otherwise really fun game. But I hate particularly these guys on the right, Tierno and what's-his-face. I'm just not a fan of them. But yeah, we're all going to go together, right? Oh. See, the way it tends to work is if you go straight forward, we all go together, except Callum there on the left decides to run and go ahead of everyone, because he's a pompous jerk. Now, Callum's actually an alright person, and some of our most frightening battles are going to be against him and his eventual Delphox. But yeah, he gives us a little booklet. Yes, Sam, there are usually, I would say there are actually usually about 2. I think 2 is the average for most games, but the number of rivals has generally gone up over the course of the games. Yeah. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go use the restroom, and I'll be back. Did they behave? Okay. Yeah, I had to leave Umbreon in charge while Umbreon was briefly away. Sam, who names their rival Gary when you could name him, like, I don't know, in this challenge I think I would go with Hygiene or something. Yeah, we do want to be pretty careful here, because as you can see there are a couple of non-required trainers. Yes, little Umbreon is great. Yeah, but no one actually named him Gary in their gameplay. One of the nice things about being a fully evolved Pokemon at this stage is that we outspeed a lot of things, which makes running from wild Pokemon really easy. Well, Sam, that's just boring. Yeah, so I'll double check, but I'm fairly certain that there are, but I'm basically 100% certain that there are no poison types here on this route. Sorry, I've just got I use the guide on a website called Cerebi, which has like details on all of the places and Pokemon. It's very useful. But yeah, there are no other Pokemon on this route. that person decided to almost run us over. And we are finally to the next town. Yeah, this guy... Okay, so we can come here to heal up our Pokemon. And now, finally, after all that, we can officially retire boring the chess pin. And you know what? While we're never going to use him again, I will leave boring in that box so that we see him sometimes. And these guys sell items. We won't miss boring, Sam. We won't. So, one thing to point out, like I said, we're not going to be using items in battle, which means that all of these things, which give stat boosts in battle, are useless. And actually, if we pick up any of those, we can sell them. Let's see. We currently have 21 Pokeballs. I feel like that's enough for the moment. Yeah, we'll get one potion. Now the thing is, because I have been avoiding so many battles, we are pretty low on money. Luckily, we don't really need anything at the moment. The downside is that it does mean that we can't buy any of these new hats. So, like, we'll run into these clothing stores in a few locations here, and we can play dress up. So, like, we could actually change out of the, like, skirt or dress or whatever it is into a t-shirt and jeans if we wanted. We could, that's about the limit of what we could do at the moment, but oh, hang on. Really, all I want to do is figure out how to take off the accessory. Trouble is, I don't actually know all of the controls for this emulator perfectly. There we go. Those are the ones I need. Hang on. Okay, there we go. We got rid of the sunglasses. And as for your question, Sam, I will not be cosplaying, at least as this character, and I will honestly probably never cosplay. Closest I've got is, like, I've got a Pikachu beanie in the closet, but I don't feel like wearing it right now. Especially because it would cover up my ears. I wouldn't be able to hear the game. So like this lady said, me and Beedrill are very connected to each other. That's right, Phoebe and I are besties. Almost as close as me and Emmy. We just stop running around. No, we don't want to hear about any of the gym badges. Not because we actually don't want to hear about them, I'm just too lazy to listen to you. But Pokemon like snacks. Yeah, their dress is nice. They did a good job on Serena's design for these games. I do think she was a bit of a fan favorite in the anime. Oh. Let's get it back to the right organization. Oh, hey. We got a Great Ball. That will be helpful for future encounters. If we run into a tough-to-catch Pokemon, we'll wind up using that. So, the reason we can't get any new encounters right now, right up ahead on that route that you can see there, there is another poison type. But watch what happens when we try and go there. This lady gets in the way and sends us back to go challenge her sister, who is the gym leader. Just let me catch my team of toxic Pokemon. I want to be absolutely oozing in toxicity. So, yeah, type matchups. Type matchups are the basis for Pokemon strategy. In the sense that you want to use effective types to do more damage when you're in battle. No, I don't have a Farfetch, I don't have a Bunnelby, and I don't want your Farfetch'd. Neither of those Pokemon are sufficiently poisonous. But I'm not too toxic already. All I have is a 3.5-foot tall wasp. That is not nearly enough toxicity. By the end of this run, we are hoping to reach Twitter during election season levels of toxicity. I don't even want to be able to read my own chat by the end of this run, as y'all channel the levels of toxicity that this character is bringing to the table. Now there is this route where we can technically go, and if we beat this trainer we can walk into that grass and get more encounters, but none of them are poison type. So we're going to not worry about it. So, I can battle... Hang on. I'm going to say no real quick. So, want to double check the level of Pokemon this lady has. She has a level 7 Zigzagoon. Okay, that's not too scary. Unfortunately, this will force us... This will give us the roller skates, which are actually probably my least favorite part of this game. But watch, we're going to fire up... Actually, we're going to set up a harden just in case we miss a few Fury attacks. It'll give us more survivability. Because obviously this is a trainer battle. We cannot run from this fight. Which means if we wind up in a bad place, we could literally lose the run. So, as you can see, Fury Attack can do between 2 and 5 hits, and that time we got 3 hits. Now, I don't actually know if Poison Sting will kill here, but I do feel pretty safe at the moment. And yeah, see, Poison Sting does a little bit more than 1 hit from Fury Attack, but it does less than 2 hits. And 2 hits is the minimum. Ugh, and we have to deal with the roller skates now. I want to know... Yeah... Like, they make us go faster, but they are much harder to control with. I do like how we have to take them off while we're indoors. Honestly, it's probably about this point that I'm going to switch to using the buttons for the directional pad. Now, there is one thing about this game that I haven't shown y'all yet that is really great. I can sit. Look at that. Look at me, I'm sitting at a little table. So... Phoebe is 121 experience from hitting level 11. Sam, we didn't order any. So... we'll hop down here real quick. Now, I believe that we can avoid almost all of the trainers in here, except that girl there at the back, that you see there at the back. So we are going to go ahead and clear out the gym before... clear out the gym trainers that we have to face before we head back to... before we finish training up to take on the gym leader. Oh, hang on. And luckily, the water droplets kind of show the way. So, like, we could have come along this line, but that would have made us encounter that guy, and I'd rather skip them. Like, even if the trainers aren't dangerous per se, I try and avoid trainers as we go through the first time, because it helps make sure that we don't have to, that we don't risk over leveling. But as you can see here, the only path that leads to the... oh. gym leader takes us past this girl, who has, I believe, two... Yeah, she has a level 9 Kakuna and a level 9 Combi. Luckily, we can get some boosts against the Kakuna to make things easier against the Combi. Nothing too crazy, but like... What does Combi actually have at this level? I think it has Gust, sadly. Okay, yeah, so actually no boost that we would actually get even matter. So we're just gonna dive in here with Fury Attack. And if we... Oh, we got a critical hit on one of the hits from Fury Attack. And even though, since Kakuna is like us, a poison type, it resists Poison Sting, we are still probably going to kill it from here with Poison Sting. Also, I do just want to highlight what a distinguished little gentleman Weedle's entire evolutionary line is. Like, look at Kakuna's little tie. I just want to take a moment to appreciate that. Look at that little tie there. And the stripes. Like, Phoebe's entire evolutionary line has clearly put effort into how they dress. So I do believe this will, yeah, because it was at such low HP, even the resisted hit would kill. We saved ourselves the miss. We almost leveled up from that. And now we've just got to go crazy with Fury Attack to help deal with the Combi. And see, there we got bad luck and got hit, and we only got 2 hits. And Gust is actually super effective. Luckily, Combi is pretty weak. So even though we're technically at a bit of a disadvantage here, we're still somewhat safe. Of course, if we keep missing Fury Attack, we could actually have some issues. So like right now, this is getting a little bit dangerous. I'm going to see if 2 hits from Poison Sting can kill this thing. I don't think that's a kill. We are safe from even a critical hit, though. Yeah, see, it wasn't a kill, but because it's only doing 6 damage, at most a crit would have done 9. So we were still safe there. In hindsight, I should have just gone for Poison Sting from the start, instead of risking the misses. That was unnecessary risk, and if I hadn't started clicking Poison Sting in time, that could have actually gone bad. We do get some extra stats, and before walking out of here, I am going to go ahead and heal up. So there we go. You almost just killed my giant wasp. Please don't go talking to me about romance. I'm not into it. Yeah, so we were completely safe there at the end. But it would have been even safer if I had done the smart thing and started going for Poison Sting as soon as Combi came out. Now, this gym has one major detracting feature, and that it's actually really hard to figure out where to stand in order to exit, and even how to exit. And Sam, yes, I could have healed at the Pokemon Center, but that would have involved walking all the way back, and I didn't want to risk the chance that I could be stupid and stumble into a trainer. Like, I have plenty of resources, there was no reason not to be safe and use them. Except, hang on. Let's see now. Who do we want to use to get the remaining experience before challenging the gym leader? Honestly, I think we will go ahead. And fight at least one of the gym trainers back in there. I just want to double check. Yeah, we've got a good bit of space before the next level. So we're gonna go ahead. We're not going to fight this guy, because even though he has a Leddyba, which is easily one of the weakest Pokemon we could encounter, it does know Supersonic at this level, and if we got stuck in a battle and hit ourselves in confusion a lot, we could actually be in trouble. But this person only has a Spupa, which at worst means that we're going to have to grind through it while dealing with weak tackles. So this one's pretty much as free as Kakuna was. It does know Protect, or at least it should. So if we don't get some decent luck here, this could actually take a while, but even then, look at the damage that it's doing. Now, I'm not going for Poison Sting at the moment because its ability, Shed Skin, can probably cure the poison pretty quick. And at that point, that would just be kind of a waste of our time. But here we're seeing one of the old principles of Nuzlocke, which is that you don't want to rely on an inaccurate move if you don't have to. Because notice, Fury Attack is 85% accurate, so of course I've only hit about half of my... I've hit half of my attacks with it so far. And on 3 of those hits, it's only hit twice. So to save time on this last one, I will be using Poison Sting. see here. What other fights can we get into without having to grind slowly against wild Pokemon? I see one fight back on the previous route that should be pretty much completely safe, and give us some decent experience. But while we're here, we might as well take out this wild Azurill. Azurill's line are actually pretty decent Pokemon if they have the better of their two abilities, which is huge power. Makes him hit like an absolute truck. And this kid's mom told him to battle anyone who talks to him. I can't tell if that's really good stranger danger or really bad stranger danger. Yeah, you are about to see another Azurill, because this kid actually has one. It won't be on screen for long though, because we are going to just kill it. Oh. So now, with that done, I'm going to deal with one more trainer, mainly because she is kind of blocking an item, which I don't know if it'll be an especially useful item. I can't remember. None of them are held items, so we can't use them in battle, but at the very least, this is some easy experience against a trainer who really can't threaten us. And Sam, as for how could I kill so many cuties, well, cuties are a brand of clementine, so I technically have eaten cuties. This almost seems tame by that standard. Yeah, see, as a general rule, it's going to be better for us to go for Poison Sting than Fury Attack when we have the chance. Okay, so we got a Pokeball now, and now we're probably just going to wander around in this forest, killing anything we come across. And see, even with a Panseer here, it really can't threaten us because of how much higher level we are and how much better our stats are from being fully evolved. So now we're at level 12. We are going to get a little bit more experience though, because the general consensus is that a level cap ends at the start of the battle that it's based on. So like here it ends at the start of the gym leader battle. So we can actually gain a slight edge by getting close to the level cap so that when we beat the gym leader's first Pokemon, we level up. And that edge is actually going to be very important for reasons that you'll see when we're in the battle. Yeah, we should actually be able to just barely finish this stream in, yeah, about 3 hours. This grinding won't take too long, and then we can head to the gym leader. The question is, do y'all want to finish right after the gym leader, or do y'all want to go to the first encounter that we can get after it first? I would actually like to be gaining this experience against some of the slightly stronger Pokemon on the next couple of routes, because we would be getting experience a little bit faster. But in the grand scheme of things, this is just safer. So you notice that blue bar at the bottom. Hang on, actually. Let's double check. How close are you to leveling up, Phoebe? Okay, so Phoebe is 117 experience from leveling up. You want to end after the gym leader? Sounds good. So, that's 36. We can afford one more battle safely. And then, yeah. One thing to be aware of when leveling up is that gym leaders give, or the trainers give more experience than regular opponents. So we already beat this person, but we do still want to avoid the little girl on the other side there. Pidgey, I'm not gonna deal with you. There is one more thing that I want to do, though. Well, not actually that I want to do, but that I think is going to be important. See, the thing is, Phoebe is still only at 25 speed. If we can get that up a bit, that'll make the gym leader's Pokemon that much safer. So we are going to do a little bit more super training. And sadly, from what I remember, Noibat is actually kind of a tricky one. Luckily, we have a rapid fire thing. which makes this a little bit faster. Because we don't actually have to be that accurate, we just have to attack a lot. See, different Pokemon have different patterns for how they shoot out their soccer balls. For example, Beedrill has his rapid fire shot. Some Pokemon shoot larger balls but less quickly. Oh my gosh, I missed literally most of them. Yeah, Sam, so when determining the order that Pokemon attack, the game checks both Pokemon's speed stats, and if one is greater than the other, then that Pokemon is going to move first. With a couple of caveats. Hang on a sec. Okay, we are going to, real quick, we're going to go ahead and discard these extra strength bags that we have left over from the last time. We'll hang on to the really good one because I'm sure we'll have a Pokemon that can use it later. But then jitter clicking through the speed bag. Let's see. We do not want to use the reset bag. In fact, I am going to go ahead and discard that now. There are situations where I might want a reset bag, but none of them are immediately coming up. But yeah, whoever has the higher speed stat will go first. And obviously going first lets us avoid damage, sometimes get off useful effects before our opponent can get them, things like that. Of course, if two Pokemon have the same speed stat, which isn't actually that uncommon at low levels, when Pokemon's stats are pretty low, then it's random who goes first. It's called a speed tie. And those can actually be pretty surprising. Okay. There are a couple of things that can mess with speed. For example, you've probably heard of the move Quick Attack, which is designed to move first, even if your Pokemon happens to be slower than the one it's fighting. That has to do with a separate mechanic called priority. Each move has a priority associated with it, and if one Pokemon uses a move that is higher priority than another Pokemon's move, then the speed stat won't matter, because priority takes precedence over speed. So like Quick Attack, most moves just have a flat 0 priority. Quick Attack has +1, so it'll move faster than any move with just regular +0 priority. On the other hand, there are moves that have lower priority, like the move Roar, which forces your opponent to switch out. Obviously, allowing you to force your opponent to switch out before they can move is a little bit overpowered, so they gave it lower priority to make sure that it that if you want to force your opponent to switch, you have to deal with whatever move they're going to use first. I think Roar runs at like -3 priority or something. There are a lot of details involved in priority. Most of the time it doesn't really matter. Exactly, Sam. If you're facing a faster opponent, using a move with higher priority can help you get off a quick hit before you go, where otherwise you might have just gone down. That can be especially useful in Nuzlocke, when going second might leave you in a situation where you actually lose an important Pokemon. Or where you need to get off a tiny bit of chip before your Pokemon goes down in order to make sure that your next Pokemon can actually finish it. Because sadly, while I would love to do a Deathless Nuzlocke, there's rarely a guarantee that you can go through the whole thing without losing anyone. Like during my height lock, I actually owed a lot to some of the Pokemon that went down to make sure that I only lost one Pokemon rather than several. We're going to duck out here real quick and do some jitter clicking on some of these bags because, like before, the really good ones give way more points than the super training. I really like the Pokemon Center music sped up this much. It's kind of funny. So you can see the bar there on the right. That measures how far we are to having max EVs overall. So we're actually getting pretty close. I feel like you're slightly joking, Sam, but honestly, like, if you look in the gaming chat in Will's or Mia's Discord, I posted a eulogy for some of the Pokemon that went down to make my height lock happen. Like, I had a little rock Pokemon, which I had nicknamed Pebble, who I was really mad because I wanted a different encounter in the area that I found it. Pebble was arguably the worst encounter I could have gotten in that area. But that Pebble single-handedly guaranteed us one gym battle and saved the lives of multiple team members in the final fight against the big bad Lysander. And honestly, like, Pebble did have to go down in that Lysander fight to make things work, but I think I could have easily lost the entire run right there had I not had Pebble not made that sacrifice. So, as mad as I was at getting Pebble when I could have gotten, like, a Carbink or a Sableye, Pebble was an absolute legend. I think I'll do one more round of super training, and then the punching bags might be able to deal with the rest. Oh, that was a good round. Did I manage to get under 5 seconds there? What was my time? Dang it, 5.5 seconds. I think the punching bags might get us the rest of the way. At the very least, we're close. Ideally, while we can't always guarantee that everyone will survive, the best case scenario is that by the end of the game we can have a strong enough team to where we don't have anyone going down. Like, that was how it ended in my height lock, which was actually something that I was so ridiculously happy about, was that I was able to make it through the Elite Four and Champion without losing anyone. Which was scary, because I think I had like 11 deaths during my height lock. Like, I was steadily having to sacrifice Pokemon in a lot of matches through, like, the first 2/3 of the game. Duck out and jitter click some more punching bags. I think if we manage to get lucky and get a large speed bag out of this, that'll be enough. Can go another round. You know what occurs to me though? I think I actually will go ahead and get the next encounter at the end of this one, simply because I think that getting the next encounter will let me take some time while I'm off stream to do all of this super training, so that I don't have to find things to say while jitter clicking punching bags and slinging soccer balls at balloons. I was leaning toward saving it because I felt like that could be a fun story thing. Give everyone something to look forward to at the start of next time, but we've got actually a good number of encounters that'll happen pretty fast the next time I stream this, so okay, if we got a decent punching bag there, we're done. I think that will push me to the max. Oh, wrong button. And notice how it only did +3 speed there? That would normally have done +4 speed. So what that means is that we have as many speed EVs as we can. So that means it's finally time to face the gym leader. Let's switch it into the better viewing format first. So we'll avoid that guy. Here. It is kind of cool how they made the little water droplets trace the correct path. It's a cool little detail, and I like the physics on the water droplets. Okay. Let's double check, make sure Phoebitron is all healed up. Yeah, we're definitely going to level up after the first Pokemon, and that might push us high enough in speed to where we're guaranteed to outspeed. If not, we might risk underspeeding, but then again, if the other Pokemon doesn't have max speed, then we would probably be fine where we are. So, yep, full health, full uses on all of our moves. Let's do it. And this is the first gym leader, Viola. So I think the plan here is that we're going to open with a Harden. Because Vivian in the back's best move is, I believe, Tackle. Yeah. Hold up, I am going to double check this. As much as I hate to pause in the middle of a battle. Yeah, so this Surskit, its moves are Quick Attack, Bubble, and Water Sport. And the biggest danger here is potential critical hits from Bubble, or Bubble getting its 10% chance to drop our speed by one stage, because that would pretty much make sure that Vivian outspeeds us. Meanwhile, Vivian in the back has Harden, Infestation, and Tackle. Infestation is a bug-type move, so we resist it, but Tackle could do pretty good damage. So, the smart move here is to harden up right at the start to decrease damage from any quick attacks and tackles. And thankfully, Surskit decided to completely waste its first turn. And while Fury Attack might finish Surskit in one turn, I think that Poison Sting is pretty safe for a 2. Oh, it's not safe for a 2-hit. Okay, yeah, we definitely need to go for Fury Attack. Because we need to finish that thing off a little bit faster. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay. I actually probably should have gone for Poison Sting there, because we could have probably wasted her potion on the Surskit, which is a lot less dangerous than Vivian. Now, this is the reason that we needed to level up before going through this. Or that we needed to level up partway through this battle. The move Focus Energy should... Well, it boosts our chance. So, let me show you. Focus Energy makes critical hits land more easily. What we're banking on here is that if we use Focus Energy, we can get some good critical hits to finish off this Vivian fast. If that doesn't play out, then we're in trouble. And because we're still at full speed, I am going to go ahead and go with String Shot as the move that we get rid of. Because we're actually fairly fast for this stage of the game. So I don't think we'll be needing String Shot much, whereas Harden could actually be helpful in a couple of future battles. So, we're going to set up with Focus Energy, and we can't go for Poison Sting. We don't want to go for Poison Sting here because we can't actually get the poison on Vivian. So you saw that Infestation just did 5 damage at the end of our turn. That's what Infestation is for. It does chip damage. Which means we really need to get some decent numbers here and some crits. this could literally be our last turn. Come on. You got this, Phoebe. One more. Yes! We got it! Yes! Oh, yes. Oh, that was so close. We got exactly what we needed that last turn. Oh, Phoebe is a beast. There are actually so few Pokemon at this stage of the game that can solo this, especially without like a really solid option like a rock type move. So, oh, Phoebe, you absolute mad lad. And we got the Infestation TM, which I'm pretty sure Phoebe can learn. I don't know if we'll teach Phoebe Infestation, because it's a special move, but we might. Who knows? We might encounter a time when it's useful. And this is a game where we have where TMs can be used repeatedly. In older games, you can only use them once. Same with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but you get several of them to compensate. Oh, yes. And before I forget, on the minuscule chance that we somehow run into a trainer or something before the next one, I am going to give Phoebe a potion. It's probably pointless, but you know what? Look at her. That is the absolute unit who won us the first gym single-handedly. You go, Phoebe. Okay. And we come up these stairs, and it turns out that that picture was just a door. So yeah, this person is just there to remind us which direction the story is, as if it wasn't obvious, since there's literally one place we can go. Actually, that's not quite true. There are technically two. Oh, bless you, Phoebe. Fun fact, if we do the right motion here, we can actually do a little spin. Maybe we haven't learned that trick yet. One of the things... Oh, hey! This is kind of a neat view on this town. I don't think I've ever sat down on this bench. So, now this chick will actually let us past. This is Alexa, and yet the only thing she added to our shopping list was to go and fight her sister. And the EXP share. It's actually a pretty useful item. It does give experience to all of our Pokemon, so we don't really want it on all the time. But luckily, we can pop in here to the menu and register it. And that'll make it easier to turn off and on just by coming into this little registered items menu. And now that we're here on this next route, we can wander into grass and get exactly what we were looking for. So Badoo here is our first encounter. Let's try... and not wanting to risk taking it out, I am just going to throw a Pokeball. Because we've actually got pretty good chances of catching this thing just by chucking a Pokeball. Yeah, it's an unevolved Pokemon. And we get experience from catching Pokemon in this game, which means Phoebe levels up one more time. Okay, we need to name our little Badoo. So, okay, here's what I'm thinking. There is a poisonous flower, and Badoo evolves into a flower. Right now it's just a flower bud. Badoo evolves into a flower. And there's a poisonous flower named Nerium oleander. So I'm thinking we name our little guy Oleander. I think that's a fun one. So we've got Phoebe and Oleander. We might go with Phoebe and Ollie. But yeah. Let's see what the deal is with Ollie. So Ollie has Absorb as its grass attack. It has Growth, which is actually probably going to be a really useful move. Because Growth gives it a boost to attack and special attack, which means we can use it to set up against a weak enemy in order to make it easier to take on a strong one. Setup moves are really useful in hardcore Nuzlocke. And Water Sport, actually a pretty good move on a grass type since it helps protect it a little bit from fire types. And we do have a weakness to fire types right now. It's actually really scary because we have a fight with a fire type coming up as like our next required fight. But yeah, this will be useful, and we also got the ability Poison Point, which is definitely the ability I would prefer on Badoo. I can't remember what its other ability is, but Poison Point is definitely the one that I was hoping for. So that is pretty nice. Let's actually see here. Natural Cure. No, I think Poison Point is a little bit more reliable. Natural Cure wouldn't have been bad, but I think we'll find a few ways to use Poison Point a little bit more often. We have other options for dealing with the stuff that Natural Cure affects. Yeah. Plus, you know, Poison Point, obviously a very toxic ability. Ooh, and Ollie has a sassy nature. Ollie is going to be the king of sass. And to top it all off, I want to highlight one more thing, which is pure luck. Ollie came carrying a held item called a Poison Barb, which boosts the power of Poison-type moves. We're actually going to go ahead and move that item to Phoebe for now, because Ollie doesn't have a Poison-type move yet. But we're going to switch the order of these. This is all stuff I can take care of after, like, that I can take care of between streams, because I'm gonna take a little bit of time. Well, actually, you know what, I won't level up Ollie. I'll leave that for the next stream, but I will take the time to super train him. So, yeah, that was, I would say, a very successful stream. And now we're gonna drop a quick save. And that should be it. Honestly, Phoebe coming in clutch that last turn against the gym leader was just... Those are the moments that can really stick in your memory from a Nuzlocke. Phoebe was such a boss. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for joining. Sam, I realize you're the only one still around, but I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next time we play. Bye-bye.